So today we are going to present our new venture creation projects, which is called Mobi App. So let's start with the problem. So by looking at tomorrow's electric mobility, it is expected that 100% of the new cars sold in Europe will be fully electric. In consequence, this growing demand poses a great challenge. Why? Because the current charging infrastructure has not been convenient enough to overtake this current demand. As we can see here, 20 out of 23 interviewees admitted there's a serious lack of available charging points and reliable information. Not only that, around 50% of the interviewees have encountered charging points that were simply out of service. Therefore, we need a solution that accommodates EV journeys wherever they need to go. Which is why Mobi App will make this possible, because Mobi App makes EV journey predictable. With its unique algorithm, Mobi App collects real-time data and utilizes it for users to obtain reliable information that's constantly being updated. Additionally, the app offers complete autonomy by providing the best route for EV users to get to their destinations. So Mobi App has four main features. The first one is that it lists the best possible routes that users can choose based on parameters such as estimated cost and time. The second one is reservations, which allows users to reserve a charging point within a time limit. The third one is users are able to view details on a particular charging point and obtain reliable information regarding the status and availability of the charging points. And last but not least is that the app caters to the EV's performance. Therefore, it will also take into account the battery level and trip duration. So the business model canvas of Mobi App is shown here. Our target customers are EV drivers that use public charging points and also local businesses. And through our value propositions, the app will offer the integrations of different charging point operators and provides real-time data regarding these charging points, routing that takes into account cost and time, and also reservations of charging points. So our revenue streams will come from reservation fees and advertisement. The reservation fees are obtained from the EV users that book charging point slots and also local businesses that advertise on our app. And for the cost structure, the costs that will incur throughout our operations are the technical operations and marketing operations. So the technical operations will include the app development, data management, and maintenance, while marketing operations will include marketing and partner acquisition. So next, we are going to talk about the roadmap of our app.
Thank you, Helen. So next I will go over the roadmap we have sketched with the different milestones we intend to reach over the next 36 months. So after we have secured the required funding, we intend to start our venture in January 2023. And at that moment, we start with the contracting process for the outsourcing of the app development. And this is estimated to take around 2 months to select, for instance, the appropriate partner, to agree on the terms of the deal, such as the intended features that we desire on the app and the budgeting. And at the end of those 2 months, from March 2023 onwards, the app development and the programming should be initiated. And this is expected to take around 10 months and should be finished by the end of October. And in parallel, during that 10 months period, the founding team will explore the market in search of partnerships with charging point operators so that to be able to integrate them in our platform. And after this period, from November onwards, we plan to roll out our software. And this is estimated to take around 2 months. And thus we expect this will be completed by the end of December 2023. And so after this rollout, we intend to start with a pilot project in Amsterdam, starting in January 2024. And this should take around 5 months. And at the end of this period, our objective is to reach around 3,000 active users. And in terms of local businesses paying us for showing their advertisements, our objective is to reach around 150 local businesses in Amsterdam. And after this pilot project, we intend to expand to the entire Dutch market. And here our objective is to reach around 48,000 active users and 2,000 local businesses after 10 months after entering the entire Dutch market. which would be at the end of March 2025. At that point, our goal is to enter the Belgian market. And by the end of 2025, after nine months after we entered the Belgian market, our total target is to reach around 160,000 active users and around 5,000 local businesses. In terms of market share of EV users, our intended target by month 36 is around 10%. Now, translating this roadmap with the associated milestones into numbers, we get our sales forecasts. So our Amsterdam pilot project starts from month 13 and lasts for 5 months. And by the end of the month of that period, which is month 17, we expect to obtain 3,000 active users on our platform. These users, along with the sales from advertisements, would result in a revenue of around 4,000 euros by month 17 per month. Then next, after we expand to the entire Dutch market, after 10 months, our target is to reach a monthly sales figure of around 69,000 euros. And after this point, as mentioned before, we expect to enter the Belgian market, and our expectation is to reach a total sales of around 211,000 euros per month by month 36. An important matter to point out here, however, is that the sales from the reservations by EV users represent by far the largest portion of our total revenues. So in our baseline scenario, we charge the EV users a reservation fee of 2.99 euros per reservation, of which we expect to keep 35%, and the remainder of that fee will flow to the charging point operators. This means that the reservation fee is also the source we have to monitor and analyze the most. As our venture proceeds, the reservation fee amount could be adjusted, for instance, depending on factors such as how sensitive EV users turn out to be in terms of price changes to this service. Now, Helen will go over the sales plan, which means how we intend to reach these sales numbers.
So in order for us to reach the sales forecast that we have mentioned, we will do a series of sales plan. Our sales activity will start in the beginning of the pilot project, in which the sales plan will include a landing page, which will become a showreel that visually describes and promotes our app's features, and video marketing by producing video content on social media, comprising the introduction of our company, app's features, app tutorials, and user reviews. And we will also encourage users to leave positive reviews for our app and also to rate the app, so our app is validated through the user's experiences. And then for the app to drive a large volume of downloads and gain users, we will run install ads on app stores, search engines, and social media. Also, last but not least, our marketing is accompanied by offline marketing, which includes printed advertisement and billboards. For our Amsterdam expansion, 2 more activities will be added, which includes social media marketing, which will utilize our video production and we will promote it on social media, and search engine optimization, which increases our visibility on search engines, so our app will be easily discoverable by our target customers. While for Netherlands and Belgium expansion, cross-promotion will be possibly utilized to infiltrate our app into the market.
Thank you, Helen. So now I'm going to talk a bit about risk management. So as you all know, every company has certain risks that are significant to them and that they should manage in order to survive and to thrive as a company. And this is especially true for a young startup like the Mobi app. So what are the main risks that might compromise the success of our venture and the risks that we should manage continuously in order to be successful? And we identified 3 main risks. The first one is a competitive risk. Right now, there are already some players in the market that are trying to integrate different charging points on one platform. And so these companies might outcompete us and customers might choose their solution over ours. Also related to this competitive risk is that some charging point operators, especially very large ones, they might choose not to integrate their charging points into our platform but they might just offer the services that we offer. They might offer them themselves, but only for their large network of charging points. The second risk is related to cybersecurity. We must assure at all times that our platform, with all the data that we gather from our customers, is secure and safe. Problems like privacy breaches, unauthorized payments, insecure authentication, they should be minimized at all times to protect our customers. And last but not least, the third risk is related to the quality and the performance of our own platform. We must assure that we minimize the amount of technical issues of our app so that we don't suffer from shutdowns, which would be very costly as it could lower customer satisfaction and it could push away customers towards other solutions. So these were the main risks that our team identified, and all of these risks will be continuously monitored and managed during the development and progress of our venture. So now I will proceed with the financials of our startup. The key questions here are: how much funding are we looking for to launch our venture? When do we need the funding? What type of funding are we looking for? And what is the return investors can expect in return? Based on our market research, our sales forecasts, and our expected cost structure, we concluded that we would need around 300,000 euros in funding spread over 2 rounds of funding. We are searching for an initial 200,000 euros from the start, which could cover the required investments in the app development, as well as the wages of the technical manager and 1 founder we have in place from the start. The other 3 founders of the founding team will not be working full-time in the venture in the meanwhile, so they will not get a wage initially. The app is expected to be developed by month 10, and then we would require to have a new round of funding for around 100,000 euros in month 11. We argue that it is better to spread out the funding over 2 rounds, because on the one hand, it limits the risks for the investors as they can track the progress that we are making during the development of the app, and at the same time, it can avoid dilution for the founders by not raising all the money upfront in month 1. Focusing on the type of funding, our team would prefer to raise this money in the form of equity rather than debt, because debt financing might limit us and our operations significantly due to the low cash flows that we are running in the first 24 months of the venture. However, for instance, funding in the form of a convertible note could be very interesting and would definitely be considered by the team. Here on the graph, you can see the accumulated cash flows that we expect to generate if we were able to raise the desired amount of money. And this funding would allow us to bridge the first 20 months in which we are running negative cash flows. And if everything proceeds as expected, we expect our minimum cash position to be 45,000 euros in month 19. From month 20 onwards, we expect to run positive cash flows. As you can see that from that point on, the cash flows are growing and they are growing significantly. However, we are very aware that things don't run as expected in startups. There could be delays in the app development and the launching of the app or the rollout of the app. Costs could be considerably higher than expected, or sales forecasts simply could be too optimistic. And that's why we want to raise a bit more than we expect to need. And that's why we want to have this buffer of 45,000 euros. And we deemed this cash buffer to be important and high enough, as we did some sensitivity analysis with our assumptions and parameters. And we found out that this amount of funding would be even enough if sales turn out to be 50% lower during the first 36 months. In that worst case scenario, our minimum cash position would be around 11,000 euros a month 22, as can be seen on this graph. And from then on, we would be running positive cash flows again. Now, focusing maybe on the most important question for investors is, what can they expect in return if they were to decide to invest in our venture? We analyzed some simple metrics and we found out that the first 36 months, we expect to generate an internal rate of return of 163%. Then furthermore, using a discount rate of 35%, which is assumed to be an appropriate discount factor considering the risks that go along with investing in an early stage venture such as ours, we came up with an estimated net present value of around 335,000 euros. And finally, we expect to become beta positive from month 20 onwards in our baseline scenario, and we expect to run net profits from month 21 onwards, after which both EBITDA and both the net profits are expected to increase significantly on a monthly basis. So this was our venture pitch. Thank you for your attention, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us.